Hello all, welcome to Rainy Day Makers with Spoozy Boot Co. on Etsy. This is Sharon, and today we are going to show you how to create a paper bead and use bead caps on it. So remember to like, subscribe, and share if you like what you see, and let's get started. So the supplies you need, as you can see right here, we have paper strips. And I use just a regular lightweight paper, no more than 32-pound paper. A tool to wrap your paper around. So I have a couple of tools here of different sizes. Some paper glue, you can see that right here. This is just a white glue that works with paper, it's great. And then a pair of scissors, and then some bead caps. And you can see the bead caps here. We offer these in the Etsy shop, Spoozy Boot Co. And we'll provide the link down below for you. So let's go ahead and get started on how to make this paper bead using bead caps. So as we get started, I'm going to leave this here for everybody. Hopefully it's not too distracting. And I'm going to show you what to do. This is a 5mm bead tool that I created that helps me make the interior of the bead, or the center, as you see on this bead right in here, the correct size to fit a 5mm bead cap. You can see that right there. And we carry the 5mm sterling bead cap, and then all the rest of these come in about 5 different finishes for the 3mm beads. And you can see they are quite a different size for the center. So the center hole would be a lot smaller. So with that said, let's get started with our 5mm tool. So you can make the width of your bead anything you want. This is a 1-inch width. This is a 1/2-inch width. So you can see quite the difference. So 1-inch width is this one, and this is a 1/2-inch width right here. It keeps rolling downhill, so just set that one up on end so it doesn't get away from me. So very simple process. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to choose the end of our paper that we want to show on the outside. So if you're showing this on the outside, this part right here, that would be a pretty plain bead, just like this blue paper makes a very subtle bead. Whereas if I want more, like maybe some of the writing on here, I might use this end. So we will start rolling on this end. Now we're going to try to get it as straight as possible, right? As we hold it down on this, and we're just going to roll this around it. If you have any troubles rolling that, you can take a tool and just curl it a little bit. And if you curl it a little bit, it's going to work for you to go round a little bit easier. Not a ton, but a little bit easier. So what I do is I just get a good grip on it and I start rolling. And you can see right here, hopefully, that this is starting to show layers. We're not going to worry about that too much, because what we're going to do is we're eventually going to take it off the tool, and that'll fix that for us, right? So if we take it off right now, we can scrunch that down, right? We're not holding too tight, just tight enough so that we're not squishing the bead, all right? I'm going to add a little bit of glue at this point so I can maintain that. And we're talking like just a little bit of glue, just enough to hold it. I don't know if you can see. I'm just using a teeny bit of glue. And you're just really keeping tension on this paper. You don't have to glue it all the way down, right? We are just going to roll it and like this. And the reason I'm holding the ends like this is I'm keeping it flat on each end. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to keep rolling this until I get close to the end, right? I'm going to check to make sure that I'm nice and flat. And then I'm going to finally add the glue to the end. So let's get some glue added on here. And we'll get that on there. Really nice. And what I do, if you don't want to use your fingers, you can use a small paintbrush or a tool if you want to smooth this glue out so it gets all to the edges up here. This is the most important edge for it to get to, right? So we're gonna just keep rolling now. And there we go. Sometimes you may get a little bit of glue that comes out your edge. No worries, because we don't like to worry at Spoozy Boo Co. and Rainy Day Makers. We don't have time for worrying. We just keep doing. Keep crafting. That's what we do. So you can see some of the words on here now, right? And it has a little bit more, I don't know, je ne sais quoi, right? As I pronounce words that I don't pronounce well. So here we go. So now you've got a bead. This glue that I use, this white glue, dries fairly fast. That's why I could let go of this. You want to make sure it's tacked down before you let go, holding the tension on this bead. So you can take the bead just like this and drop your bead cap in the end to test the sizing on it, right? One of the things that I do is I will put this back inside the tool and put it out here. This bead cap will not go past this, will not go past this portion. Because this is wider, and that's why we wanted to wrap around it, because it makes a wider interior of the bead so the bead cap can fit inside. So what you can do is just that, right? So that just can help you if you're having troubles getting the bead cap to stay in. That is definitely a way to go ahead and do that. Use a tool to help you with that, okay? So, and that the same goes for the other end. We can just put this back on, and you can do this. It's interesting. So we're going to put it on the other end, or we can just use the tool, and I'll show you. I'm going to show you what you can do. You can actually put this on, add your bead, and then put your other bead cap on. Okay? And then they'll slide right on the ends, and you don't lose control of your bead. You're not standing it up and doing all of that kind of thing, right? And this is just for sizing at this point. You want to make sure that your bead roll is looking pretty good. It's the size you need. Because at this point, if for some reason you don't like any of this little bit of edge that might be showing on your bead cap, right? I leave it there so that if I'm going to do any surface embellishments, they are not going to leak over the side of the bead cap, right? And you can have it leak over. It's just a personal preference. But so that's what we do. And then I just slide it off, right? Just hold on to it like this. So I've got both ends of it on. I'm holding it up like this. This is all I'm going to do to attach a bead cap. Is I'm just going to put glue all around this edge. And this is a two-part benefit. One of it holds all those little edges together, right? You know your bead cap fits because you already tried it on the tool. So we're just going to hop it right in the center there, right? And glue it down. If a little bit of the glue comes out the edges, great, it's fine. Just wipe it off with your finger. The other thing this tool is good for, and that is, if you can see, there's a little glue coming out there in the middle. You can just stick that in there, not this part, but this part, and it'll smooth down that glue for you on the end. So now we're going to just flip this over where our other bead cap is that we know that fits. And we're going to put a little more glue on the end of this bead. Okay. If I'm worried, I can pick up my bead cap like this, put it next my tool inside, and then just secure that down. All right. We're going to hold both sides. I've got a little bit of glue that's coming out the sides, so we're going to just smooth that off so we don't have a big mess. And if look in the inside, see if I have any glue. I don't really, but if I did, I could just do a quick smooth out with my tool. So that is how that works. All right. Okay. And we'll have some of these bead tools in the shop fairly soon. And within the week, we'll have a bead tool in there. We just wanted to make sure you had instructions on how to use one. So there you go. Your bead is done. That is a 1-inch bead with a 5mm center, all right? You can easily fit a chain through that if you wanted to make a necklace that's strung with beads. If you wanted to add a bead on the end, right? So sometimes you can just use some jewelry supplies and make this into a pair of earrings. Or what a lot of people do is they'll use these as dangles to create part of their dangles for journals and art journals, scrapbooks, anything that you make like that, any creative endeavor. It makes a really great dangle, especially, I think, for handmade books, closures, right? This is a great idea to give it a little bit of your own personality. So that is the 1-inch beads. That's how you do that particular one. For the next one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a 3mm bead cap. So you can see these are quite tiny, right? These are tiny little bead caps, right? And they're very tiny. You can, this is really designed for folks that want to make smaller interior diameter beads, right? So what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to use a 1/2 inch, and this is a 1/2 inch by, I believe, 3 3/4 inches long, right? And I'm going to do the same thing that I did to wrap the other bead. Is I'm going to choose the end that's of most interest. So for me, that's usually, is there more print at one end than the other, right? Because, you know, depending on what paper you're using, it could be anything. So I've wrapped it around a little bit. I'm just going to pull it off. You can see that. I'm going to square it up so it's flat on both ends, right? These are a little tinier. They're a little easier to kind of squish. So be careful as you're doing this that you don't squish it flat. It's not that you can't fix that. You can. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in there and keep wrapping. I'm just going to do a very gentle roll forward. If I was worried, I would just put this back in like so and up over this, and you can see that that is right there, and I can just keep wrapping. But really what I want to do is I want to keep a hold of these ends and keep them flat, because your bead cap is not going to fit very well if this end is bumpy. So that's why very straight edges, and as you roll, just roll it very securely so you don't have a lot of bumpy ends. Maybe that'll be the new vernacular for that. Bumpy ends. Okay. And then we're going to add a little bit of glue just like we did on the last one. Okay. And we're going to make sure it goes to the end and the edges so we have a secure seam on it. And we're going to roll it forward, and we're going to keep it. I have glue all over my hands now, so. But you know, what crafter doesn't? Do we walk around with glue and stuff all over our hands? I know I do, seems like half the time. All right. Great thing is white glue comes right off your hands. A little bit of water, it's water soluble. All right, so there we go. So we've got that rolled up, right? Now, the thing is, with this 3mm one and these particular bead caps, although you can put this back on here like that, these bead caps don't do as well on the stick for fitting. And you'll see what I mean. All right, I'm gonna get a hold of this bead. It fits, kind of. I mean, I sharpened one end of this one, but it doesn't really fit as nicely over. So I do all my work on here with this like that. And then I fit my bead caps right into here, right? And they fit quite well. It's not a real difficult maneuver. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to go ahead and put a little dab of glue. And I'm going to just do a little bit towards the edge. I'm going to drop my bead cap on there, right? There we go. Get any excess glue off, okay? So there you go. We got one end on there. And this one I've made comes right out to the end. 3 3/4 inches. If you have a 3mm center, will come right out to the edge of these bead caps. So I'm going to do the same here. And I'm gonna add, what am I doing there? There we go. All right, I'm gonna put this right on here. If you can see that, I'm just sliding it inside. I'll remove any excess glue. There shouldn't be too much. We don't want to load it up with glue. So, and that is how you use the 3mm bead cap, right? So one of the things I've done as well is, since we have a little bit of time, I think we can go ahead and do something with a 5mm bead and a sticker. So I had these stickers, I had a sticker, so I went ahead and turned it into a, basically a 1/2 inch wrap for a bead, because as you go through this, you can put surface treatments on these beads, right? Any one of these beads can have a gloss surface treatment. I've done glossy accents. This takes a while to dry. You've got to put on very thin coats, and it works and it looks beautiful when it's done, right? So that's one thing you can do, and you can definitely. I mean, you can use. They also have a crackle accents that you can use. I'm not sure how well that one. I haven't tried it yet. But you can do that. You can stamp on this. If you have tiny stamps, you can stamp on it. You can add glitter, dimension, all those kinds of things. I like a bead to look finished. So one of the things that I do to do that is use a sticker. So obviously this is a 1-inch bead and I have a 1/2 inch sticker. So I am going to create a 1/2 inch. I have a little box here with pieces of paper in it, right? So I'm going to take a 1/2 inch, and I believe this is about a 7-inch piece of paper. 1/2 inch by 7 inches, right? And that's so it fits around a 5mm. So let's put that over there. Corral all my rubber bands. And I'm going to go back to my 5mm tool, right? And this length will give me enough to go pretty much to the edge of the 5mm silver bead cap, right? So I'm going to slide it off. Okay. Oop. And that happened. Sometimes you lose your grip, right? And I just did. So let's take our tool back. Let me move these scissors, because the scissors we need only if we're going to use the sticker. So we're just going to wrap that. So you can spin this in here. You want to be able to do that, because if you wrap it too tight, you won't get it off. So let's slide it off the tool. See, now that I said that, I think I jinxed myself, right? So I'm just going to wrap this a little bit. And like I said, one of the things you can do to help prevent what I just did, letting go of it, is adding the glue a little ways down so that it holds on to itself and you're not the one who has to make sure you keep it. We'll see how well this one works. I wrapped it a little bit loose, so we're gonna just do that quickly, get it to the end. Now I have glue coming off my fingers. I don't know how many people loved in elementary school to put glue on your fingers and then peel it off. It's always very satisfying. As an adult, maybe not so much, but all right, so I'm just getting that out to the edges. So make sure I have a nice, good seam that's close to the bead. It's not going to catch on anything. And there's my seam. And I'm just going to hold that down a bit. All right. You can keep rolling this. All right. I'm going to put this back onto my tool, right? And hopefully I can get it to go back on. What can happen is if you are not perfectly rolling it, okay, there we go. We can get that, so you can just use your fingernails or your thumbs to get that matched up again. So you can see there we are, right? So now, one of the things you can do is at this point, you can go ahead and measure your sticker to go. See, it's the same exact width as this bead. Okay, maybe a skinty bit more narrow, just a little teeny bit. And the reason that I do it, I mean, it's minuscule how much it is. And that is because this sticker will be thicker than the paper. The sticker I have here is, anyway, this is on vinyl. So it is a little bit thicker. So judge how thick the sticker you're using is before you go ahead and do this. And one of the things I do is I just wrap this around and I just match up, see where that is, so that I can have those seams meet. And I'm going to take my scissors and do a quick snip. I'm not cutting all the way through, and I'll tell you why. Because I want this snip that I do, see I'm right there, to be as straight as possible. Now, there's no guarantees that that was as straight as possible. So if you want to use your cutter, like if you have a paper cutter, you know, one of the slide paper cutters, feel free to do that. What I'm going to do is then I'm going to just peel this sticker away. And I don't care about the paper background, right? We'll get that off. And as you can see, it's a pretty substantial sticker. So, and all the stickers at Spoozy Boo Co. are like this. They're a really high quality sticker. So I'm just going to put this on. And something I'm going to tell you about stickers, for things like this especially, I love that I have a little line on this one that helps me line it up straight, is that when you're doing an application like this where you don't want it to come undone, right? You want to, see, this is also just a little bit done. You want to glue the sticker down as well, right? So once you get it placed like this and you're kind of happy with it, you peel it back just a little bit, add a little bit of glue on that end, right? Just like you did the paper. Because stickers don't hold stick forever, right? So we're just going to hold that down until it sticks pretty good, right? And doesn't pop up. And remember, a sticker is much more resilient. It's going to remember where it was because it's a quality sticker. So then we're just going to wrap this around. Get as close as we can on here. See, I'm still going to come up. So if you still find yourself popping up like that, go ahead and add some more glue. I'm going to go ahead and add glue all the way across my bead. All right. If you have some come out the end, more power to you, because it's just going to happen based on how much glue you put on the inside. I'm okay with it usually because I really, really want this to stick well. So if I can hold that glue, squish out whatever extra there is there. I am just going to hold this down until it sticks and stays, right? And this is a different material that you're gluing down. If you want to use white glue, it works. You have to hold it a little bit longer with this type of application, but you can see how shiny, hopefully, that is on that bead surface, right? So I'm just holding this down with my fingers to make sure that those stay stuck in that seam right over here. And the glue will be fine. Oh, I rolled it right back out. So the glue will be fine. And then if you want, you can do the same thing we did before, right? Put your bead cap, hold on just 1 second there. Let's see if we can, all my little glue leavings. We can leave our bead cap on like that, right? And this is just for the 5mm one once again. This tool works much better on the 5mm ones because all of the 3mm bead caps, they're pretty consistent, but getting a stick thin enough for it means the stick kind of breaks a little bit. So we're gonna fit that on there. There you go. And the whole idea is that now has its bead caps on each end. All right. We're still holding down those edges because they're not stuck quite yet, but you can see the bead itself. Can you see the floral design? There's like a little tiny floral design on that. That is quite beautiful in my view. So that is how you make paper beads with paper and bead caps. And I think the bead caps really do, let me get this mess out of the way. They really do have a nice look to them, especially, you know, as we go through and want to make different things that match maybe a journal we have, or maybe you have some tiny words that you want to put on a bead. You can do that as well, just print it on paper. And you can either do a wrap like we did with the sticker and just wrap it around an already made bead, right? So I could just, if I didn't like this and I wanted to just wrap it with blue, I could just go in and wrap it with blue, and have a totally different bead, right? So there you go. That's how we make a bead. If you liked what was shown here, go ahead and give us a like and a share and all those good things that we all ask for people that are visiting and enjoying our videos. We do appreciate you so much. You have no idea. And if you're interested, we do have a Rainy Day Makers Facebook page that you can join. Just answer the questions on the page, and we'll go ahead and let you in. You can see what everybody's making. We don't only make paper beads. We make lots of things. Lots of different crafters and artists and people that are on there. So we just enjoy the crafting aspect of almost anything. And many of us like different things, lots of different things. So, and visit our shop, Spoozy Buco on Etsy. That's SPOOSYBOOCO. I'll put a link down below. You guys have a wonderful day. Come and visit us on Facebook. We'd love to see you. And like I said, have a great day.